This is the Corally Sketer. I keep wanting to say Skeeter, so if I say Skeeter, it's because I remember. Isn't there a Muppet named Skeeter? Maybe that's why they didn't call it Skeeter. I think there's a Muppet named
I think
Skeeter.
you're aging us then.
I think I'm dating us just a little bit.
Yeah.
This is the Team Corally Sketer. And we have one, and we are going to beat on this one. And this one is, we're going to unbox it. Check it out. So, first things first, which end
is the right end?
Is the right end to open? This end, I think.
Designed in Belgium.
Designed in Belgium.
Interesting.
Assembled in China.
Assembled in China.
Not as factory sealed as some of the other brands where they have like a big fancy factory sealed decal. Okay, so we got this and this. And this is going to be transmitter.
The thing that makes it go.
The thing that makes it so it doesn't go into people's shins because you're supposedly steering it. Right? In theory?
Interesting.
That's a different looking transmitter, right?
It is. It's very hard plastic. I don't know if it's really comfy.
Pretty cool. Let me see.
I don't know.
It doesn't have the soft feel that a lot of other ones do.
No.
It's got this upper open lid on the top. Power button. You have your steering trim, your throttle trim, and your steering dual rate, and your reversing switches up here. And a button or a light here that tells you whether or not the battery is low or fully charged. Looks to me like you could throw, does have a charge port on the back side. So you could throw rechargeable batteries in here. Takes 4 AA's. And it's hollow. You can see through.
No place for a lanyard?
Well, I mean, you could put a lanyard really anywhere on the handle.
I guess, but not the actual clip.
But
like
not,
some of
there's
them.
no clip up top like that. So there's not even a little. I thought there'd be a little nub or something here.
No.
Anyways, that's the controller. You guys have probably all seen controllers before, right? Let's get to the truck.
What color is it?
What color do you think it is? I don't think there's a color option with this one, actually.
The red one's on the box.
That's one thing I noticed with Corally. Most of their trucks don't seem to have a color option. They just have one color. Oh, okay. Is there anything else in the box I need to worry about?
No zap straps. Okay.
No zap. Instructions.
Instructions.
Way down there. Bye-bye box. Oh, these fancy wheel guard things. And the body comes already wrapped.
Hey.
Wow, look at that.
The body clips are attached to the body.
So, this is 4S capable. It comes with XT90 end on it. Only one. So you can't run two 2S battery packs stacked. Fairly beefy shocks. Comes with a wheelie bar on the back. Metal chassis with your skid plates.
Could you run 2S battery packs if you put a splitter on it?
Yes, you'd have to solder one in though, or something.
Don't you sell the attachments of like the Y splitters?
No, not to run it in series.
Not with it. Oh, okay.
What do we have? Yeah, I don't have this attachment to sell it in series. We have an attachment to run two 2S or 3S battery packs in parallel. So you're pulling off two at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So the body's not really any theme of a body at all. It is basically just your generic
Body.
monster truckish kind of looking body. I do wish that they actually did have LED lights in there. It's raised right there for LED lights.
Light bar.
Or light bar, which this is just going to end up getting skidded off every time you wipe out.
As you flip it upside down, land on your lid.
As you flip it upside down and land it on your lid.
That never happens with a basher.
Never. Never. Don't know what you're talking about. Pretty substantial wheelie bar.
It is. It's adjustable.
It is. It is set at right now at the highest position, so you can set it down lower. So if you don't want your thing wheeling everywhere, but what's the fun of that? Wheeling. That would be about. That's about the angle you'd be at if you were wheeling it. I mean, when I wheel it. So yeah, okay. Let me zoom you guys out a bit here.
We got the bind plug in here and your antenna protector.
There's no tools or anything in here. Nothing in here.
No spare tools.
Unless there's a little box shoved inside one of those white boxes. There might be tools in there.
I don't think so.
No? Okay, so quick look. A couple of things that I notice right off the bat. Body mounts, these posts are quite skookum. They're quite big. They're thick. They're almost the size of your pinky. Top of them's strong. It's got this crash tower kind of set up on the top with a nice big chunk of foam, which will be lines up right with the top of the body. So when you roll it or flip it, you're not crushing the body every time. Aluminum servo horn. Aluminum, the servo saver. Aluminum threaded parts, but the actual servo saver itself is still plastic. It is a...
That's plastic?
No, the servo saver part.
Oh, the saver. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. That's
the motor is a... What does that say for kV rating? 2,150 kV. Brushless motor. Waterproof. The ESC is a smaller ESC than it has. Like the 6S ones and everything have a larger ESC. This is a rather small one. 17 mil hubs.
They're metal.
So, yeah, your wheel nuts are all metal. 17 mil. You have ball sockets, kind of like the older Revo platforms, and a lot of the larger scale stuff has this. That's kind of a nice setup. Hope they don't pull out as badly as some of the other models did. They are also CV joints. Both sides, fairly good size scoops. There's not plastic drive shafts. It's metal drive shafts. Metal drive line all the way from front to back, basically on this thing. Center diff. Yes, so it does have a center diff. So that'll bleed off speed, so it's not a direct shaft right from, so you can be spinning the front wheels and getting traction on the rear, locked up on the rear, whatever. It does have these shock tower guards. They're kind of cool. So that's going to help if, when you hit something hard, these aren't going to blast through the top of your body, which is cool. That's a handy schmanty. I'm sure they'll just blast off right away.
So these back ones are dog bones. They're not CV.
Nope, they're CV. Oh, no, you're right. They are dog bones. Yeah, so the front one's CV, the back ones are dog bones. You're right. So it is a dog bone. I don't know if you guys can see it in there or not. I'm going to pop the wheel off. Inside there, let's look on this side. Yeah, I'll pull the wheel off and show it. It's casting a shadow right now. It's hard to see.
It's gonna hit me.
Right there. I'm not going to hit you with it. Promise I won't hit you with it. Well, not today I won't. I'll hit you with it when I'm driving it, maybe.
No, that'll hurt.
It will hurt, you're right. So it's got a chassis plate. It is aluminum chassis plate with a skirt around the outside edge to help stop debris from building up on the inside. The only biggest problem with that kind of setup, which you find with pretty much any RC, is if you're running in snow or grass, it piles up inside and doesn't have any way to shed off very easily. So that could be a problem.
So when you're done running, it's good to take an air compressor to it.
Yes.
Blow it out, flip it upside down, let it dry out.
I always flip mine, especially if it's snow or water or anything. I just leave it sitting in the garage, in the shop like that, upside down, and it just drips everything out. Leave it sit there for a couple hours, come back, blow it down, throw some lube on the bearings and everything that might seize up.
Those are some pretty solid A-arms.
They are. They're pretty skookum looking. It does have sway bars, front and rear.
What is that, a sway bar?
Yes, that's the
Okay.
sway bar. So the I'll show you this. This guy right here. This is a sway bar. This is the connector. It comes all the way back into here, and there's also one up on the front. Bumpers are not overly large.
You got a little bit of give on the impact if you hit a tree.
It's actually not attached. The bumper is not actually attached to this front skid plate. It is a separate, completely separate piece.
Easy to replace.
Easy to replace, yeah. Should be. Wheelie bar is attached to the main bulkhead with 4 screws going into the shock tower and 4 screws going into the bottom. Not trying to yet.
That's what he says.
It does have the upper chassis support brace, aluminum brace, so this stops any flex of the chassis this way. So that's going to help that. That some people look at that a different way. Some people think that's a good thing, and some people think it's a bad thing. The people who think it's a bad thing, it's because what happens is if you don't have that flex, then it is going to put the stress on the parts and they're going to break. And other people who think that the flex is good because it absorbs some of the impacts when you do these really big hits. This would be the antenna.
That's your little cover thing. It comes with instructions.
And that's why they gave you an extra gap. That's exactly it.
These are HPI.
Those are the HBI ones. The other instructions and stuff are back here. Yes, so there's one antenna to go over top of this. Probably recommend putting it on, because if you don't put it back on there, there's a chance of this going down in here and getting wrapped around your drive shaft, which could be a problem. So let's do a quick comparison here.
So on the box here, it says 3 diff 4-wheel drive.
3 diffs, yes.
3 diffs.
3 diffs. Okay, so feel safer now? I'm not gonna hit you.
I think so.
Okay. 1 diff is going to be in the front. That's what stops the wheels from doing this. Okay. 1 diff on the rear. Well, lets the wheels do this. Now, the 3rd diff is actually mounted right here in the middle, right here. And what this does is it divides the power. So if I hold these 2 wheels in the front,
Okay.
okay, I'll hold them. You hold
Okay.
the wheels. No, you spin the other wheel. Spin both those wheels. Now that clicking noise that you hear is actually the motor rotating. So that means that there's a differential in the center as well. So it's the same idea as an all-wheel drive car. So the difference between an all-wheel drive and a 4-wheel drive is a 4-wheel drive has no differential between the front and rear axle. So whatever power you put into the front, you're also putting to the back at the same time, same amount of power, same amount of torque, blah, 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 all that same stuff. With an all-wheel drive, there's an open diff in the middle. So if your front wheels start to spin, you might lose power to the rear because your front wheels are spinning. It's usually dealt with in full-size cars with traction control systems and stuff like that. On RC cars, the reason that's handy is what it does is it allows you to, when your car starts to wheelie really badly, depending on how thick of an oil you put in the middle, so the thicker the diff fluid is in the middle is going to basically be like your traction control or your limited slip kind of idea. So when you're going accelerating fast, and what happens is your car wants to go over backwards all the time. You have that problem a lot with them going backwards. With the open diff in the middle, what happens is that wheel speed bleeds off on the front, and it really quickly, before you can really do it with your trigger or anything, it settles the car down, and it will want all the wheels to plant down. Instead of going like this, it's going to plant down, and you're going to get traction to all 4 wheels. And it's going to even them all out somewhat, and you're going to get more acceleration and rapider speed.
So, with putting the oil in, would that also affect the temperature, the weather of the thickness then?
Yes.
If you're running in the spring?
Yes. So
Winter.
Corally has their own line of diff fluids, and they have their own line of shock fluids. But generally, almost every line of RC car out there runs a silicone-based fluid. So it does get thicker and cold. So you do want to adjust that and take that in consideration depending on where you are. But also, don't forget, cold is also going to be a lot harder on all of your plastics as well.
Because they freeze.
Because they freeze, they get very brittle. Yes.
This is an interesting on-off switch. It's a button on the side,
Yeah, so it's
not a switch.
the speed controller button on there is quite similar to most of the other brands you'll see. It is a push button, and then underneath there's your set button for doing some adjustments on your ESC. Waterproof, fully waterproof. Okay, so let's take a look at this. This truck here, and I happen to have a Traxxas Maxx here. So let's put the body clip on here so we don't drop the body. Yes, you can scratch this one. This one's okay, because this one is going to be run, because we are going to shoot a whole bunch of comparison videos between this one and the Max just to see how they actually line up against each other. So here is the Corally. Okay. Right over here, you want to get it? You want me to get it? Right behind Tanya is a slightly worn, slightly used Traxxas Maxx.
Slightly.
Slightly. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this one upside down, put it on the bench, and you put that one on top of it so we can compare. So there's the Max upside down, and there is the Corally.
It's heavy.
So wheelbase, pretty much the same.
Yeah, these tires are a little...
Yeah, the tires on the Max are definitely firmer.
Wider.
Bigger. The tires on the Corally and the Sketer are firmer than the Max is, so they're probably not going to balloon out as easy. Let's take a look at the wheelbase. So if you look at it this way, put this on the lap a bit. There's the Max, and there is the Sketer. So the difference here is not really so much in the suspension, it's more in the tires. The wheels and the tires are a little bit different. This is running a slightly smaller set of tires. These are running a larger, softer tire. Now, these have not been run yet, and they have not been broke in. So I don't know if this rubber is going to soften up a little bit after a little bit of use. It's more of a blocky tread pattern. This is more of a off-road truck kind of pattern.
These have, like the rims are attached. Like there's less plastic here, but there's plastic on the inside. And these look like an actual rim.
Let's go this way. So
and these tubs are...
Go this way so you guys can see it a little better. Okay, so what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's like the outside walls.
Oh, in here?
Yeah, like this has plastic here where it's ballooning. And this, like...
So the Traxxas
kind
rim,
of balloons.
the Traxxas rim has a lot more openings around the outside edge here. You can see.
Yeah.
It makes it a lighter weight rim for its size. It also makes it weaker in cold weather. This is more of a solid style traditional rim.
But there's more mounted on the inside. Like there's inside. This isn't. So this will have more squish. This is less squish.
Yeah, definitely lower profile.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Less squished.
More squish, less squish. Okay, so
different wheel
styles.
Well, this wheel nut is inset or 12 mil. This is
17 mil. So not entirely true. The Max is a 17 mil.
Just the outside.
It's just got this. Yeah, it's got an 8 mil nut, and then it's got this plastic adapter piece that people lose all the time, which you could also change the color. This is your traditional 17 mil aluminum hex style. For me, I prefer this just because of the aluminum hexes. You could throw a dab of Loctite on there, you're not going to lose them as easy. These ones you can lose, they're an iLock nut. But this one you can also change it up. I believe there's a kit. I haven't looked at it.
This has 2 wheelie bars on the back.
That has 2 wheels on the back for wheelie bar. This has 1.
This one's not adjustable.
Not adjustable at all. This one is. The other thing is the Max has the quick release body set, which I've crashed this enough times that it's kind of hard to. So you don't need to remove body pins, and it has an internal cage built inside. This Sketer does not have that, but it does have built into the chassis. There's no riser on the chassis for this one, so let's pop both the bodies off, and you guys can take a look here. So if I take this body off and this body off, size-wise the bodies are pretty close. This is the Gen 1, version 1 version of the Max. So your version 2, the new ones they came out with now, are going to be larger, longer and wider, because they now have a wide max kit. But this is actually kind of, look at that. It's almost like it was made for this kind of thing. You put one on top of the other.
The shocks are pretty much the same.
Shocks are pretty close to the same size, yeah. So we're going to do videos with these, and we're going to be running 4S in both, and we'll be running the Traxxas battery, because I didn't want to change out the ends on this. The ESC on the Traxxas is a lot more substantial looking. It's quite a bit larger than the one that is on the Corally.
Does this come with a fan?
This comes with a fan on the motor, whereas the Corally does not have a fan on the motor. This is a good thing and a bad thing. These fans are known in the state of California. These fans are known for breaking the blades on hard impacts, especially in cold weather. So then they go off balance and make a whole bunch of noise. There's only a fan on the Corally. There's only a fan on the ESC, and it's built into the ESC housing. Plastic. So this is a hard plastic clip for putting your battery in and out. And then you can adjust out this plastic piece so you can change a certain amount of variability for battery size. This is all Velcro mounts on here. So you have way more battery options for this, because you're going to be able to just basically stretch the Velcro to make it fit. But you land this thing upside down, Velcro can come loose. This, unless you physically break it, is going to hold your battery in place. So
that's less fire blow up?
Yes, less explosion, less blowy. Shock towers. This is aluminum. Looks to me to be about 4 mil, 5 mil plate. Aluminum shock towers on here. These are traditional, basically big giant plastic housings. Plastic bulkheads. There's a lot of plastic in here and a lot of plastic in here.
So if you break them, are you replacing the whole thing?
If you break these, you broke them. You're replacing the bulkhead. It's not the whole thing. I think it's a right and left side. Yeah, there's right and left side on this. I've never broke this one yet, so I can't really say.
That's
I'm
a good thing.
quite impressed. I haven't broke this yet.
Me too.
It's probably my favorite Traxxas vehicle I have. While I'm looking at it, we already mentioned metal driveline, plastic drive shafts going out to the wheels on this. Metal center driveline intermax, but this one's got the metal all the way, right from front to back. The other thing you're going to find with this guy, this being the Traxxas Maxx, has a oddball size servo. So this servo in here is the 2085 or the 2085. I think the X is the one that goes in the X Max. But anyways, it's a different size. It's got a different mounting setup. If you want to run a standard size servo from, say, somebody like Reefs or somewhere that has a high torque, high end servo that's faster, quicker, strong, just as much strength. These aren't overly strong for their torque ratings and stuff. They're just a large scale. You need to basically buy an adapter plate to make this one work. This one here is running your standard size servo.
So lots of upgrades, easy to upgrade.
This would be just plug and play, drop it in.
And this looks like easy to access that.
Yeah, and like the Corally runs a 25 tooth spline. Traxxas runs their proprietary, I think it's a 20, but it's a little bit of an oddball size shape and size. So that's a bit of a downside for this guy. Once again, I haven't broken this one yet, so I can't really say much. Shocking, yes, I know. We've really beaten on this one.
So price point.
Price point, I believe it's about $100 difference Canadian between these two.
The Corally's cheaper?
Yes.
Okay. And like as always, you have to buy battery and charger.
Yeah, everything that is ready to run nowadays is not really ready to run. It's ready to go buy a battery and put it in.
Charger if you need a charger.
And charger if you need a charger.
So I suggest when you find you like RCs, normally dual chargers, spare battery, so you can have one battery charging while you're playing.
Yep.
So if you put 5,000 mAh in this, what would be your runtime?
I'm going to be running a 5,000 in this one. I'm running a 5,000 mAh of Gens Ace in here. And it's going to drop right in here. I hope. Let me turn this around so I can see what I'm doing. Not so good at you working on YouTube. Working by camera is not easy to do. Oh, that's pretty substantial Velcro.
They have these stuck together. What is that?
That's capacitor.
Oh.
It's in there. And I run this with the wiring to the front. So this is actually, this battery pack is shorter than they're set up for in here.
So you piece of foam?
I could throw a piece of foam in there, which is what I will do. When I do these, I like to run my battery pack further back just so you get a little more wheelie action sometimes. And down the side. This one here. And down the side. So that's kind of... So can we hold this? Okay, we can pick up the truck by the battery pack right there.
Solid.
Solid. But I will be throwing a piece of foam in the front here. Just right here. Just so that the battery, if you do hit something hard, it's not going to... It'll absorb some of the impact instead of the battery absorbing it.
Okay. XT90.
XT90, boom, boom. Done
and
deal.
And we always unplug our batteries when we're not running.
What's this
So we don't...
stuff?
I
always unplug my battery before I turn off the transmitter.
Well, you leave them unplugged so they don't drain either. If you leave your drained...
Yes, LiPo batteries do not leave LiPo batteries plugged in all the time, or else you're going to end up with a battery that's flat, toast, and worthless to you.
And it'll be expensive because you'll have to buy a new one. And these batteries are not cheap.
Nope.
So take care of your battery.
I guess it really depends on where you buy your battery from.
Well, yeah.
Some batteries are super cheap, but with batteries like anything, you absolutely get what you pay for.
I think that's basic. I'm interested to see this one wheel, if it'll keep it stable. It probably should, compared to the two wheel on the X Max.
Mm-hmm.
Max. I mean, not the X Max, Mini Max.
The
Mini Max.
I'm impressed. I was going to buy another Max for the kids because the Max has been a truck that we have done a lot of running with, and I have not had the kids break it. So it's kind of one of those go-to, here, just take this and go run it. This is going to get the same treatment. This is going to be, take this and run this, so we don't have kids squabbling over one truck. 3 kids.
Well, and from RC Mom, this is better
4.
size-wise. The X Max is absolutely huge. So if you're trying to pack a lunch, pack a cooler, pack some drinks, RCs, and go on an outing, you need to buy a bigger SUV then too.
You need a truck.
You need a truck.
You need a
And
truck
well,
with a truck
still,
box.
but
even then, if you put 3 X Maxes in the back of your standard pickup truck, that's taking up a lot of your box space. You put 3 of these in there, you haven't even made it from one side to the other yet. So, that's a very good point. That's very much a problem nowadays with a lot of the bashers as they get bigger and bigger and bigger, which is great if it's just you.
Oh.
But if you have more than one person that you're going out bashing with,
then if the batteries die and you have to pack them back, the X Max is super heavy too. And then you have whiny kids. Dad, I don't want to pack this. Mom, can you pack this?
Yes.
So these are actually good size for...
You could strap this to your backpack too if you're out. If you had a backpack with you, you just throw it in
Yeah,
your
but our
backpack
kids
and
are like 9 and
13.
11 and 12 now. And they don't want to pack back.
No, they don't want to pack out. They don't want to charge batteries. That's what kids do, right?
So, yeah. But, so then in that case with the truck, I need the wagon. Okay.
All
so,
right.
stay tuned to find out the test and comparison. These little sticker things.
The durability of this truck.
So, like, subscribe.
You know the deal.
Links in the comments.
Links in the comments.
Stay
Have fun.
tuned and let us know what you...
Get your kids out RCing. Get them off video games. I'm fighting to do that ourselves, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. All the time. Bye.
Bye. Well, if you get there and you don't have snacks, then you have whiny kids. Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, I'm thirsty.
Yes. which would make it maybe a good idea to get an SCS 6 or something like that.
To tow the wagon?
So you could put a wagon behind it.
No,
tow
you're
the
not.
wagon.
No, you don't need the S66. You just have to find a friend who has one and invite them.
I'm getting ideas. We have the wagon.
We have the wagon.
We just need to attach it to the back of an SCX 6.
Well, you could test it with this. I think it would work. Just attach it to the wheelie bar.